Oh hi, I'm Linguini, and this is Remy the Rat.
You may recognise us from a hit 2007 Disney Pixar movie, Ratatouille.
And if you're anything like us, you may have noticed that our movies had a resurgence in recent years.
Which is weird given the film is 13 years old and the average lifespan of a rat is 2 years.
So what, if anything, has led to a resurgence of a film about rats?
Hey! We at Book Films have been putting in some intense research into why, and we have an easy answer and a long answer.
Come on! Yes! Oh, yes!
Okay then, the answer is easy. A viral video of someone singing the song La Festin made the film into a meme and the resurgence followed. You happy?
Yep, that's it. It's as simple as that. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell. I'm not sure what it does, but people do it anyways.
See, we told you can't put a short answer before the long. It's not how videos like these work.
Now, if you please, back to the topic.
So when people think Pixar, until recently, Ratatouille likely would not come to immediate attention above, say Toy Story or Up or Inside Out. Basically everything Pixar has ever made has been smash hits, with a few bad eggs.
Ratatouille reviewed well, made lots of money, is considered by most a success. So why is it not a film most people name when they think of Pixar?
Given Pixar's immaculate standard of films, perhaps their track record is so good that even great films can get lost in the mix. Or perhaps we're all looking at this from the wrong angle.
From over here, let's pretend we're at the perspective of a child or a rat. Here, it's easy to see why food isn't that important, let alone food critics and five-star restaurants.
If you're a kid, or me, you probably don't even know what Ratatouille is, how to make it, or why it seemingly possesses memory-unlocking powers.
And, unless you were me at 9 years old, a child wouldn't likely declare a rat as their favourite animal, and is most likely grown up in an animal racist world that likes to throw rats in with seagulls and wasps and other baddies.
But now, the kids that have watched the movie when it came out now have an appreciation for food, and rats and restaurants and several key themes may not have connected with as a child, but you're older, and you get things like sex and taxes and clinical depression, and thus, the film becomes more enjoyable.
This is a classic case of getting better with age, or should I say, ageing like a mature chick. Reason 1. Kids society have all grown up.
In case you've been living under a giant white chef's hat, there's a deadly pandemic flying around, and if you've been stuck inside for months, there's only really a finite amount of hobbies you do before you go insane.
Cooking being one of them.
Oh.
As such, the connection and love for cooking is now much more relatable for everyone, and Ratatouille feels a lot more homey than it did before. In fact, by comparison to Pixar's usual selection of films, this one's pretty mundane by comparison.
There's never really a new unknown place, big adventure or threat of death. And there's no comparison to dinosaurs, cars or old men in floaty houses in this world.
I think that all works in favour of the film at this time, especially when we can't eat out and survive on takeaway every day. Reason 2, cooking is fun, lockdown is cozy, Ratatouille is both. For our next point, let's play a game of Guess the Pixar Movie.
After a man's wife and children are murdered, his last remaining physically disabled son goes missing. He must team up with an amnesiac to get him back.
Finding Nemo?
Correct.
My turn. A man, recently fired, travels away with a mysterious woman against the knowledge of his wife to reunite with a fan he met as a child, who reveals he's murdered the man's friends for sport.
Is it The Incredibles?
Correct!
A man driven from his home comes across a great restaurant and befriends a socially awkward orphan as they learn to cook together.
Oh, I know this one. Don't rush me.
I am the rat of wisdom. The answer is Ratatouille.
Oh yeah, that's it.
It's not quite as dark as the other two, is it?
So what we're trying to say is reason 3. Pixar is often surprisingly dark, so Ratatouille is actually a breath of fresh air by comparison.
Have you ever seen my Shrek 2 authentic film reel?
Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of DreamWorks movies from the early 2000s.
Me too. Shame about the faces though. It's a shame that in the early 2000s there was a huge influx of low quality 3D animation, especially ones that featured animals.
With all these subpar animated movies, especially ones about animals, no wonder Ratatouille didn't make a splash on release.
And it makes sense that it's so popular now, with time leaving obscure films to the wayside. Remy and Nico reign supreme.
Reason 4. The film came out during a saturated genre and now stands out. And for our final point, it's what we like to call spectacle versus story.
Like we said before, Ratatouille on paper is probably the least exciting Pixar movie. I mean, it's about a kitchen.
And at the end of the day, films that prioritise story over spectacle always just take longer to catch on.
I mean, people didn't really like Shawshank Redemption when it came out, and now it's the top of most people's film lists.
Maybe the real moral to all this is that pop culture is too obsessed with judging movies, and some just take longer to catch on than others.
Wouldn't that make us part of the problem?
Les poils étaient pignons, les vitons jetaient, et les jantons les hoppas, les chisons les